Hello everybody, my name is Alistair Grigg. I'm the Managing Director of Fastman. I'm joined today by Brian Lapointe, who's our VP of Sales. Today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the products we sell, but more especially some of the war stories and the use cases that our customers use them for. Hope you enjoy the session. Fastman has been going since 2006. We started in Melbourne, Australia, and we started off doing services and a technology partner for OpenText. So in 2010, we released our first product to the market, and in 2012, we opened our office in Singapore, followed not too long afterwards by our office here in the US. Brian and I are both based in California. In 2017, we became a Solex partner with OpenText, and in 2021, that was elevated to Solex Gold. So we're very proud of that history, and what we'll do now is talk a little bit about some of the products we've been working with and some of the, as I mentioned, the war stories. You might have noticed we're also an SAP partner and a Docusign partner, so proud of those relationships as well. Here are some of the customers we work with around the world. You'll see that there's a variety of industries and a variety of organization sizes. We do deploy to the OpenText cloud, so Permissions Manager is certified for the OT cloud, and these are just a couple of customers that are using it already in that environment. But generally, you can see that the customers are large, small, energy, government, and so on and so forth, a real variety, which is great. We're going to cover off briefly, just give you an overview of the products, and notably the premier product or the flagship product we have is Permissions Manager. It's been around since 2010, actually deployed to its first customer in 2008, and pleased to say that customer is still using it today. Likewise, Bulk Data Manager. I skipped through Permissions Manager for Outlook, a lovely little add-in which allows you to do a lot of the permissions management, some functions, and to especially understand the ability of people to see content through the Microsoft Outlook product or platform. Bulk Data Manager has also been around a while, and it is designed to do things like migrate data, to manipulate metadata, records management details, physical objects, a whole range of things around data management, and widely used by customers both on-premise and cloud, and great when you want to do migrations from file shares or from another source into Content Suite or extended ECM, both. Bridge Connector is a product we brought to the market a couple of years ago, and it's designed to be able to bring together the functions provided by Permissions Manager and BDM, and also other functions like a managed move in an orchestrated fashion, so that customers don't have to do it in a ad hoc, and they've got some supporting mechanisms to be able to see what moves or updates are in flight, and customize those processes to suit their particular business requirements. So that's a nice little product. Access Manager, I'll talk about in a minute. A great little product we released to the market, again, just within the last year or two. And Docusign Solutions, Brian's going to talk about that. Brian's our resident expert in the Docusign side, but we have specific solutions around the Docusign integrations. So I'll talk very briefly about Permissions Manager in a bit more detail. This is not a quick conversation, but because Permissions Manager is the most comprehensive and complete access control and permissions management tool for Content Suite platform and extended ECM. Acknowledged that way, used around the world, it's the go-to product if you have any issues around permissions or access. And it also builds heavily on our experience around information integrity. So this is a big part of customers' requirements and why they deploy products like Content Suite in the first place. It simplifies a lot of the complexity that's under the covers with these products, and makes sure that customers are able to do things effectively, efficiently, and to be able to prove that that what they're doing is actually meeting their objectives. It ties in very closely with requirements around the privacy and so on, and the legislation like CCPA and GDPR. And if you look at the product, you'll see it aligns very closely with ISO 27001. Great product and very widely used. And one of the reasons that is because as we deploy more complex environments onto Content Suite, like some of the integrations with SAP, with Office 365, with Maximo and things like that, you'll find that these requirements get more complicated and not simpler. So I'll talk about that in depth at some other time. I mentioned BDM. BDM is a great little product. It's been around for a while. It is an all-in-one product which removes the need for technical resources to be involved in what are, after all, day-to-day or project-type activity. So you don't need to have any scripting or any other technical work take place while you're doing these activities. And it also provides in a secure and a well-managed model. So again, very, very happy to be able to go into that in more detail if you want. And Bridge Connector, as I mentioned before, is the tool that you can use to bring all these things together and to orchestrate processes such as redefining a taxonomy, moving content around your organization, making changes as part of a project. For example, one of our customers uses this as part of their move from project to operational use for assets, for critical assets. A really, really cool product with a dashboard that you can use to manage and view what's going on. Access Manager is a great new product which started life as a read-only tool for managing read-only licenses, but is expanding to include other functions. So essentially what it means is you can restrict which functions specific users can do within your system. Another great use case for it is the ability to be able to control who can download documents and so on and so forth. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Brian, and Brian's going to take you through some of the use cases about these products. Over to you, Brian.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Alistair. That overview of not only Fastman, but several of our key solutions that we offer customers looking to increase their information integrity. Next up, let's just talk a little bit about a few scenarios, war stories, where the solutions are being applied today, or even recently over the last few months. Top of mind, the first one that comes to mind is a public utility where they began their journey with an on-prem content suite platform primarily for records management. Like many of the content suite customers we have, their usage essentially expanded to other high-value use cases over time, such as adding in, SAP Extended ECM to manage a large quantity of business workspaces around their equipment and even their work order process that they have. Furthermore, they have a use case for decommissioning their legacy shared drives and migrating all that content into Content Suite. A very common scenario that we see. And it's an ongoing effort, essentially, that started with their on-premise version of Content Suite, and it continues today where they transition to the OpenText Cloud solution. So, you get a little bit of complexity there. But, the Fastman solutions have been, truly invaluable to this customer in providing them the control to efficiently manage not only access but in permissions, but also to streamline the user onboarding. And they use Permissions Manager, our flagship product, for this. Additionally, we see this very common where Bulk Data Manager is very important to them, our other flagship solution. And it allows them to use their own internal resources to migrate these file shares. And not only that, they can bulk update any of the records management metadata, along with any other metadata in their categories and attributes they may have. Really worth mentioning in this scenario too is that BDM really helped them in the decision to move to the OpenText Cloud sooner, as they were able to continue using the same tool set for migrating content and bulk updating this metadata in records management and attributes within Content Suite. And this is really where Fastman solutions are having a big impact in increasing the integrity of the information that's in the Content Suite. And I'd like to thank Laurie Goatee for sharing her Fastman story with us recently. Much appreciated there too. Next, we have another great customer that is essentially a Canadian energy research and laboratory organization. And what they did was, they converted a legacy engineering doc control system to Content Suite. The Fastman solutions were instrumental here in, again, in enriching the metadata to improve the searchability and also to simplify their CIS model that they had in place. Moving to Content Suite provided them an opportunity to redesign for a broader set of use cases and open it up better for content collaboration, essentially. Whereas the old system was really, again, engineering built by engineers for a doc control single function. But what they wanted to do is use and they did use the Fastman bridge connector, which essentially, as Alistair mentioned, integrates Permissions Manager and BDM, which is the Bulk Data Manager, with a dashboard-driven process to move the content. And this essentially unlocks the true value of that content to the user base. This is just another great example of increasing your information integrity. And, I'd like to, give another shout out to Samantha Tolley. You can see from her quote here, it's evident that she's getting great efficiency of using Permissions Manager in her day-to-day IT role and tasks. A large government provincial user has adopted Permissions Manager recently, and they're a very large and long-standing user of Content Suite. As these, here's an example, as these systems grow and they become integrated with other lead applications, so does the complexity of these systems. Being able to see the true access and demonstrating it's compliant with the organizational policy to your internal audit becomes very important here for a variety of compliance reasons. And this is where Permissions Manager really shines. It also opens up an opportunity for cost savings, as the IT burden has grown over time as these systems have gotten complex, and you're looking for ways to reduce that cost if possible. And this is Permissions Manager helps here. And it's things such as creating and maintaining custom web reports essentially go away, and it'll take a lot less clicks to make the changes to your CIS model that you need to do over time as you keep your system healthy. There's also a peace of mind for having the ability to roll back your permissions changes that you make that comes with a solution like Permissions Manager. So very happy customer here. And lastly, I'd like to talk about a commercial vehicle manufacturer that is new to deploy the Content Suite platform. And they're doing it with a combination of both the full and then the read-only access licenses. And having the ability to ensure licensing compliance during the lifespan of Content Server really increases the trust, and it also will remove, in this case it did, the commercial friction in the decision process to move the project forward. And this is where a solution from Fastman called Access Manager had a real big impact. Furthermore, starting with Permissions Manager on day one in the solution allows the delivery team to design the CIS model and then configure it using Permissions Manager tool. This makes for an easier handoff to the in-house staff later on, and it eliminates the need for custom reports or other difficult to learn techniques in maintaining the system. I'd like to thank David Wilson at CGI for your thought leadership here and guidance here too. So there's some war stories there. So lastly, let me just move along to the Docusign connector and the relationship that we have. As you said, in addition to these core Fastman solutions that Alistair discussed, Fastman, we've been a Docusign Silver partner for many years. And it started off in 2012 when Docusign approached Fastman to essentially develop a connector for their on-premise digital signature appliance solution they call the DSA. And then later on, we expanded it, the connector and its capabilities to the cloud e-signature, which is the broadly known solution that's out there. We really enjoy this relationship as we're also a reseller for Docusign, and so we're able to offer the subscriptions to the whether it's the on-prem DSA for very compliant use cases, PKI based, or the much more popular Docusign Agreement Cloud solutions, all bundled with a connector for Content Suite. And also, we also bring to the table a lot of expert signature automation and workflow configuration services specifically for the Content Suite platform. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, Fastman, developed and provides a very specialized connector for the OpenText Content Suite in extended ECM platform that installs essentially out of the box. It lets you sign documents directly from the Content Suite function menus in both Smart UI and Classic View for both the Docusign Agreement Cloud and the Docusign Signature Appliance solution. And then furthermore, there's a lot of innovation in the connector where the connector provides advanced signing profile functionality that really lets you control the rights to sign specific documents based on file type, file characteristics, and the role of the signer and so forth. And it's these types of innovation that really deliver that last mile when you're trying to configure a workable solution and tie it into the business process that they have. You get the choice here of not only tying it in with existing workflows, but the ability to do ad hoc signing is a very powerful capability of this, and it really gets the adoption off the ground on day one very quickly. So thank you for the time here, Alistair. I'll hand it back to you to kind of take control.
No problem. Thanks, Brian. That was really interesting. I think some of those war stories and use cases are great, and we're doing very well time-wise too. Before we wrap up, I hope you got a feel for the level of connection we have with our customers. A lot of that comes from our background in services. We've talked a lot about our products, and we don't talk much about our services. But as I mentioned, we've been doing this since the day we started. And those of you who operate in the Asia Pacific region would probably know this more than others. But we provide managed services to significant clients in the Asia Pacific area, including doing their technical support, migrations, upgrades, projects, and so on. And this is a lot of this helps with our product development because we don't lose touch with the day-to-day operations that customers have to work with, the situations. So we'd be more than happy to talk to you about that as well. Obviously, in terms of international operations, our expertise around Docusign and the signature process, and also our access and so on, is probably more widely known. Just before we wrap up, thank you, Brian. As I mentioned, Brian is our VP of Sales. So you'll see a lot of him. You'll see me bouncing around the world at various times. You probably also know David Henshaw, and David's a very key part of our team. He's based in Australia, and those of you who have been working with our products for a number of years will know David very well, I'm sure. But he's a great asset and a great member of our team. And at that point, I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you, Brian. Thank you to our customers who've contributed to those stories, and to those of you who continue to support us. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.